Good morning. I haven't been up here in a while. You missed that voice, didn't you? All right. Good morning and welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are so glad to have you here. My name is Ed Cosper, and I'm a member of the choir. I'm a member of the Sunday Worship Associates team. I mow some grass and I dig in the dirt and I do a whole bunch of other stuff too. So I offer a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time, either in person or online. We are grateful you are here and look forward to getting to know you. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person through anti-racism, anti-oppression, support for the LGBTQ plus community, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues, as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build a beloved community not only here but in our surrounding area. Everyone is invited to join us for social time following the service. Those here in person are invited to join us for light refreshments in our fellowship hall that is on the first floor behind the sanctuary. At 11:25, please join us for religious exploration, small group activities, and there will be worship reflections here in the sanctuary, and additional offerings are listed in your order of service. I will tell you that sermon reflections today is going to be really good, because I'm going to be there. Each Sunday, we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our commitment to be a beacon of love in the world. These words are by Reverend Elizabeth Harding. We, Unitarian Universalists, don't drink from our chalice. Instead, we use it to hold the flame. The circle of the chalice helps to keep the fire small. The flame doesn't blind us. It doesn't burn us. It gives us light so we can see all the different things in the universe, even the invisible ones. Because the Unitarian Universalist flame is a light of learning. The flaming chalice is a symbol of learning and of love. It's our symbol, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. And now, in the spirit of the love and the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Now, greet your neighbor in the spirit of love and the beloved community. Let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around and offer greetings. And for those online, please use the chat to introduce yourself or unmute to say hello.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Christina Branum-Martin, and I'm the minister here at Emerson, and it is so good to be with you. Today we are exploring many different ways in which Unitarian Universalists understand prayer. Prayer, like so many other words, is a loaded word. Depending on what faith you were raised in or became a part of, and earlier in your life, you may have lots of experience with a particular kind of prayer. And those life experiences may give you a sense of what is right or what is wrong about prayer, or maybe even what is real about prayer. So I'm asking you to suspend those thoughts just for a little while and listen and explore with me some ideas, because prayer can be different for each of us. I know my mother told me when I was growing up that there are as many different ways to be in the world as there are people. And I think prayer is like that. So let's begin the service today with a prayer that I often use in a multi-generational setting. It's fun. You repeat a line after me. So the first one is, "It is good."
It is good.
It is good to be.
It is good to be.
It is good to be here.
It is good to be here.
It is good to be here now.
It is good to be here now.
And it is good to be here now with you.
It is good to be here now with you.
Amen.
Amen.
Would you sing with me number 1008, which is in the teal hymnal? It's when our heart is in a holy place. And here are the lyrics. We move to the time where we share the matters of our heart and share the joys and sorrows and concerns in our community. Thank you, Ed, for helping me by placing the stones. For this morning's ritual, we have water and river stones. The stones are smooth and the stones have weight. They're indicative of life's both pleasures and times of ease, as well as life's burdens and times of heaviness. And the water receives these stones with ease and calmness. Each week you are invited to write in the book here a joy or a sorrow or a concern or even an email sent to pastoral care. And if you're online, you can put it in the chat. We place our first stone today in honor of the Cherokee and the Muskogee nations of the indigenous peoples who lived on this land before us. And the next, we place a stone for those who labored on this land for hundreds of years. And the third is for all those hurting in current conflicts across our globe. And would you put a special one there for those in the Middle East who are dealing with fear for their lives? I have a joy that March Price and James Huey are delighted to have a new lift chair that's operational for emergencies in their home. Many thanks to Susan Ullman for her assistance and support in this endeavor. And another from Jeffrey Jacoby. After 7 years, I can finally say, my novel has been published. Sometimes there are things that are just not ready to be shared. Sometimes they're too hard. Sometimes they're too private. So I put this stone in for those that you're holding and carrying with you. May we be there when you're ready. Would you join me in finishing our time with the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness? May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, mind, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be. One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love and kindness and justice into the world. Right here.
Karen.
Oh, yes, I was confused.
That's Steve.
Thank you, Karen.
Good morning, everybody. You hear me? Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Karen Anderson Cordova, and I am a member of Emerson's Social Justice Leadership Team and the Green Sanctuary Team. Our Share the Basket partner for November is Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, GIPL for short. GIPL is an interfaith environment nonprofit whose mission is to engage communities of faith in the stewardship of creation as a direct expression of our faith and as a religious response to global climate change, resource depletion, environmental injustice, pollution, and other disruptions in creation. For over 20 years, GIPL has worked to inspire and equip congregations to engage in faith-based environmental action. We are pleased to acknowledge the strong connections Emerson has had with GIPL for more than a decade. GIPL has been a consistent source of inspiration for us as we explore the connections between our spiritual lives and our care for the environment. With GIPL's encouragement, Emerson has become a greener congregation, helping us reduce our use of electricity, conserve water, and completely eliminate our use of natural gas in the building. We fully support GIPL's work with the faith communities throughout Georgia. And it is my pleasure to introduce Maria del Mark Ceballos, who will talk briefly about GIPL and how it assists congregations throughout the state of Georgia to engage in environmental action. As a practicing architect, Maria Ceballos has been devoted to sustainable design and construction for over 13 years. She currently serves as Director of Sustainability at Kennesaw State University, where she leads efforts to minimize the university's environmental impacts and promote student, faculty, and staff engagement. Maria now serves as the newest member of GIPL's Board of Directors. So please give Maria a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. So nice. My name was pronounced perfectly. That was amazing. Thank you. It's rare. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here. This is actually my first time representing GIPL's board, so thank you for giving me my first opportunity to do so. As Karen mentioned, Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, GIPL for short, is an interfaith nonprofit that seeks to engage communities of faith in stewardship of God's creation, as a direct of expression of our faithfulness and our religious response to global climate crisis, resource depletion, environmental injustice, pollution, and other disruptions in creation. GIPL has been at this for about 20 years and has partnered with over 500 communities of faith just like yours, and has established over 100 green teams, which I have recently learned just how active yours is. It is very humbling to see. GIPL does this really in 3 ways. So there's the green teams, correct? Which are really grassroots organizations made up of community members that identify and implement sustainability targets and policies within their congregations. And GIPL supports them through workshops, coaching, educational materials, etc. The second way that GIPL supports congregations is through the implementation of practical climate solutions, I think several of which were just mentioned, but basically we focused on programs based on energy efficiency, zero waste, water, and solar solutions. They are geared just as much into helping the institution as a whole reduce your carbon footprint, but also educate how it's possible for you guys to contribute as individuals. And last but not least, and I think a part that is particularly important and practical in this congregation, GIPL is involved at the local, state, and federal policy level in driving environmental policy and environmental justice policies. GIPL seeks to empower and equip the congregations and its community members in becoming advocates by providing advocacy education, as well as facilitating letter writing campaigns and opportunities for you to meet with legislators and community officials. So again, I am humbled and incredibly grateful for your continued commitment to GIPL and your support for this month. Your generosity allows us to continue to grow specialized programs to serve communities just like yours and those in greater need. And it allows us to hire more staff to support those green teams doing wonderful work and to continue that very important advocacy work at all local, state, and federal levels. So thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here, and I'll be around a little bit later to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org. Select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization.
Good morning. My name is Wynn Scow, and I'm grateful for the extra hour we've all been given this morning. It was nice to sleep in. I'm the chair of our membership committee, and today, Millie Fuller, our fellowship ministry associate, who you all know, and I have the privilege of welcoming 6 new members to our Emerson congregation. Choosing to become a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation is an act of love. It's a way to declare that you affirm the inherent worth and dignity of all, that you are committed to a free and responsible search for meaning as you grow spiritually, that you are committed to working for justice and creating a peaceful world, that you acknowledge the interconnectedness of all life, and that you would like to do all that right here with these people. We are delighted to introduce to you our newest members who will now sign our membership book. And I'm going to call your name one by one, and if you'll come up and sign our membership book, which is right. I think everything's filled in except for the signature, right? Yeah. So our first person I'd like to introduce to you is Kaylin Jean-Pierre. And Kaylin, you will find hanging out in that back room with the RE kids. She's an RE teacher and a nanny. And her husband, Andrew, recently joined our congregation. So we are glad to welcome Kaylin. The next couple are actually not able to be here. It's James and Catherine Johns, and they're well-traveled nurses, and in fact, they're traveling. They have 3 kids who you've probably seen them around, but when you see them next, we will welcome them. They're often working on Sundays in addition. Our next one is Adam Stanger. Adam's a member of our choir, obviously. He has the choir fan club. He's was born into a Jewish family, which is interesting, and he loved learning Hebrew and all the customs and practices. So I'm not going to read all this stuff to you, but hopefully you have one of these little programs and you can read the rest. So, welcome, Adam. The next person is Jennifer Sarah. Did I say your last name right? Okay. Sarah came to us by an intellectual route. I'll just say that, because she read Emerson, Douglas Adams, Thoreau, Louisa May Alcott, and many others. And we are so glad that you're with us, Jennifer. And then we have another member of the choir, Rebecca Carlson. I love her bio here that she gave us. In her free time, she can be found surrounded by a small zoo of animals: dogs, cats, fish, snakes, and wild birds, squirrels, and she fosters kittens in addition. Welcome, Rebecca. And finally, we have Matt Hudkins. Is Matt here? Yes, there he comes. Okay, Matt grew up right here in Cobb County and graduated from Pebblebrook High School. He has a son who was born in 2017, and he's currently pursuing his Master's of Fine Arts in Film. So please welcome these members. Now we have the new member covenant, and that's on the back of this order. And I don't know whether you up here brought these up here with you, so you won't know what to say. But I have one that I can give you after we read. Okay, so if the congregation will read the response after our new members read their part. Okay, good. Okay, I'll read with you. We enter this faith with hope and possibility in our hearts, pledging to participate in and support the ministry of this congregation. We covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through us and guides us. We seek your welcome as we join you in this faith. We are all connected. In congregation response, we welcome you as once we were welcomed. We seek to be open and inclusive, respecting your inherent dignity, your ideas, and your vision. We seek to be supportive not only when you reach out to us in courage, but also when you need us to reach out to you. In return, we ask that you recognize our humanity. We will not always live up to our ideals, and when we fall short, we invite you to stay in relationship with us and help us more fully bring alive the spirit of love. We welcome you as an equal member of this congregation, of this faith, and of our shared spiritual journey. We are all connected. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Am I on? Oh, there I go. Yes, thank you. Hey, I'm Jeffrey Jacoby, and I have a story for all ages. So would the young and young at heart like to come down and hear a story today? We're going to talk about, well, I've got the stick here, talk about walking in the woods a little bit. Oh, great. Thank you for joining me this morning. So, this story is called Granddad's Prayers for the Earth. When I was little, my granddad was my best friend. Being with him always made the world seem just right. Granddad and I would go for walks in the woods. We especially loved walking at this time of year, with all the leaves turning bright fall colors, nice cool breezes, and no bugs. Well, maybe less bugs than there are in summer, but not as many. He would use this stick while we walked, and I kind of liked the way it sounded when he'd put it down to take a step, and it would kind of crunch in the fallen leaves, and we'd start walking. And then every time he would do that before he took every step. And while we walked, I used to ask him all kinds of questions about things I was not sure about. And one day I asked my granddad what a prayer is. Usually when I asked other things, he had an answer right away, but this time he took a long time before he answered. "Did you know that trees pray?" he said. Since we were in the woods, I listened, but I couldn't hear anything. "See how they reach up to the sky? They reach up as high as they can, and praying is like that, like reaching up toward the sky, toward something taller and bigger than yourself. Rocks pray too, and pebbles, boulders, and old weathered hills. They're still and silent, which is another way to pray. I still listen for the prayers of the trees. Still nothing." Then I could tell, but now I focused on the rocks and picked up a small pebble and put it in my pocket. We got to the stream where the water splashed and tiny fish hovered in the shadows. "What about streams, Granddad? Do they pray?" "Yes, they do," he said. "Streams, rivers, lakes, waters of all kinds. Sometimes they pray like rocks and they are very still and quiet, while other times they pray loudly by splashing, flowing, and falling, and even giving themselves to the sky so they can make their journey all over again." "So many ways to pray," I said. "There can't be any more, can there?" "There are more," Granddad said. "Tall grasses pray as they wave their long arms in the wind. Flowers pray by releasing their sweet fragrance into the air and filling the world with color. Wind prays as it whispers, moans, and sighs as it goes by. Birds pray by singing, and actually all of the animals of the world pray in their own way. Each living thing gives its life to the beauty of all life, and that gift is its prayer." I thought about how all the animals and plants of the world had their very own way of praying and said, "What about prayers of people, Granddad? Do they do it in different ways?" So this question is a really important part of the story. But before I tell you what Granddad said, I'd like to share this response that a 7-year-old girl named Nancy got when she asked her UU minister, "What prayer shall I say before I go to bed?" This was his response. It'll be up to you if you want to pray to someone like God, or it could be more like a conversation with Buddha, or you could even think of the earth when you pray. But for the time being, at least, think of prayers not as asking for favors, but as an honest expression of some of your feelings. I especially mean 4 kinds of feelings. The first one is thanks. Sometimes you feel thankful for nice things which have happened to you. If you express your thanks at bedtime, you may enjoy them all over again. Please. Sometimes you have hopes for yourself and other people. If you express your hopes in prayer, you may see what you can do to make them come true. The third one is the wow prayer. Sometimes you can tap into a sense of wonder about your life, our planet, or our universe and just say, wow. Then the fourth one, oops. Sometimes you feel sorry, I know I do, for things you've done or said. If you express your feeling of being sorry right before you go to bed, you may feel much better. And I kind of think that UU minister is a lot like Granddad in our story. So let's get back to our story and hear what Granddad had to say about how people pray. Granddad smiled as he ruffled my hair. Well, I don't need no hair to ruffle, but he would have if he could have. People pray some of the most wonderful prayers of all, he said. Bending down to smell a flower can be a prayer. Quietly watching the sunrise, just being there to watch the earth waking up is one of the oldest prayers there is. Standing outside on a cold winter day and seeing your breath become part of the breath of the earth is a prayer. Making music or painting a picture can be a prayer. Holding hands with others around a table before a meal and giving thanks is one of the greatest prayers there is. Sometimes people pray when they're sick or lonely or have a problem too big to carry by themselves. They may say words they learned from their parents, but often they must find their own words. The important thing is that the words will always be right if they are real and true and come from your heart. Before we walk back, Granddad let me ask one more question. Are our prayers ever answered, Granddad? Granddad smiled and said, most prayers are not really questions. And if we listen closely, a prayer is its own answer. We pray not to change the world, but to change ourselves, because it's when we change ourselves that the world is changed. We went for many walks in the woods after that, and I always listened for the prayers of the forest, but I was never sure if I actually heard them. Then, one day, my granddad was gone. And no matter how hard I prayed, he didn't come back. He couldn't come back. I prayed anyway as hard as I could until I just couldn't pray anymore. And then I gave up praying altogether. And the world seemed dark and lonely without Granddad in it. A few years went by, and one day I went on a forest walk all by myself. Overhead, the branches swayed and a breeze whispered in the leaves. I heard a stream flowing nearby and a robin singing from a honeysuckle bush. And I finally heard something else, too. Within the sounds of breezes and birds and water, I heard prayers. The earth was praying, just like Granddad said. So I joined in. Thank you, I prayed. For tall trees and sweet flowers, for still rocks and singing birds, and especially for my Granddad. And as I prayed, something changed, and my Granddad seemed somehow near again. And for the first time in a long time, the world seemed just right again. All right, that's our story for today. Let's go ahead and stand.
Let us come together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Take a moment now to just center yourself in your seat. Feel your feet on the floor. Perhaps have your hands laying gently in your lap. I'd like to read something to you this morning from Ghassan Kanafani. Let us come together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. I wish children didn't die. I wish they would be temporarily elevated to the skies until the war ends. Then they will return home safe, and when the parents ask them, "Where were you?" they'd say, "Oh, we were playing in the cloud." Let's take this time to be silent and to listen to all there is happening in this world today. It's when we join our collective thoughts and intentions that the strength of our prayers, the strength of our wishes go out into the world to heal, to help, to feed, and to help those who are suffering in wars around this planet. Be at peace. And one thought also I just want to share with you this morning. Please look inside your order of service. You'll see the lyrics to the anthem that the choir is about to sing. And I want you to really think about the words. Really powerful.
How to Listen by James Cruz. Listening is a form of worship, but you don't have to kneel on the floor with folded hands or mouth the perfect prayer. Just open the door of yourself to another. Become the space they step through to show you who they are. This is holiness. Two people seated together on a pew of a park bench or the altar of a kitchen table. Even if no one says a word for a while, receive the silence until it's like a new language only the two of you can speak.
Thank you for that stirring anthem. It brought tears to my eyes, and I have such gratitude for the gift of music that you offer. Thank you. Many of you know that I'm a lifelong Unitarian Universalist, and I happen to be a seventh-generation Unitarian. So it was a surprise when I asked my parents as a teenager to go to the all-girls Catholic high school in the neighborhood. Because it was a wonderful opportunity to be in a small school that was really focused on academics, albeit with really bad uniforms. We had to go to Catholic Mass every week, and there were obligatory classes in Catholicism every day of all 4 years. Yet, I found myself fascinated, surprisingly, by the study of religion. 1 year was the history of religion. We covered the origins of theism, the belief in a god or gods or even goddesses, and I was introduced to the ideas of pantheism, the belief in many gods, such as we see in Hinduism and also the beliefs from the Greek and the Roman era. Another structure was panentheism, the belief that the spirit lives in nature, such as the God of the trees and the sea and the sky and the animals. For each living thing in nature, there lives a spirit of life. This was akin to religions, especially in indigenous groups that still believe such structures around the world today. We surveyed examples of paganism and druids and traced them through the early European cultures. I learned about Buddhism as a practice that was without a theistic focus, and that was eye-opening. And all of this in their structure of teaching was to lead up to the belief of monotheism, as it was traced through the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Well, if this class was to solidify a belief in Catholic tradition, it kind of backfired. Because there were too many ideas to choose from and no guarantee as to which one was actually right. So I decided wholeheartedly that I didn't need a god or gods or goddesses at all. Instead, I was learning in my Unitarian Universalist congregation about humanism and atheism. Humanism is an approach that is based on reason and our common humanity, recognizing that moral values are properly founded in human nature and our own experiences. So I became aware that I was a humanist. I didn't ascribe to any form of theism. During these years, I was really active in our Unitarian Universalist congregation, and I was living and growing up in Houston, Texas. I was a worship associate. I sang in the choir. And I remember being moved by the rhythm and flow of the worship services that was put together by my minister at the time. His name was Reverend Bob Shibley. And he was a glorious speaker. His voice was melodious. I can still remember the sound of it and how it made me feel. He combined the elements of music and readings and prayers and especially shared silence, like that which Ed invited us to today. All of these captivated my attention. Reverend Shibley was a Buddhist who traveled each summer to live at Plum Village in France to study Buddhism with Thich Nhat Hanh. He went for 12 summers in a row. Reverend Shibley gave an example to me that a religious practice, such as a prayer life or a practice of meditation, that you do on a regular basis is a means of aligning one's life with the principles and aspirations you have for yourself. I learned from Bob, Reverend Shibley, to claim my identity as a religious person separate from a belief from a higher power. By the age of 17, I was called to ministry as a vocation in my future, long way in my future, because I knew as a child, as a teenager, I wasn't ready to have anything to say from the pulpit. I needed to live some life. So I didn't go into ministry until decades later. But I remember sitting in the pews on Sundays and imagining what kind of worship services I would create as a minister one day. I wanted to emulate Reverend Shibley. I wanted to emulate how he incorporated prayer and silence and collective ritual into the passage and arc of worship. I saw that the role of ritual and rites of passage in the congregation, such as the new member ceremony that we did today, are part of creating holy space and time, and that the holy was present when people gather and imbue that space and time with the sacred. So what does it mean for a humanist who doesn't ascribe to theism to use terms such as prayer, meditation, holy, and sacred? I know in my heart that theism doesn't own that emotional response in me. Theism doesn't own these words. I think our community does. I know that when I am with you, here in this space, with this community, I am changed by your presence. I am often moved to tears by the connections I feel when we are here together, especially in song, in prayer, in silence. Beautiful words and poetry and music open me to the emotions and thoughts about the things that give my life meaning. Love, compassion, and shared understanding. For me, prayer is the embodied act of being mindful of one's life and one's intentions for your life itself. And your prayer life may include a deity, a metaphysical being, nature, or perhaps prayers to and with your ancestors, or maybe even the human condition itself, in love, or simply the universe with a capital U. For me, there are many songs that we sing that are prayers, such as the Spirit of Life, the meditation on breathing, or even Comfort Me. One of my own practices of prayer is the Buddhist meditation of loving kindness, an expansion of the one offered here each week. I begin with I. May I be filled with loving kindness. And then I move to the you, and I imagine the others in my life. And then I move to we. May we be filled with loving kindness. And this opens my heart and teaches me to cultivate compassion. It reminds me that we are all connected. And this may not be an empirical, tactical exercise of changing the world, but I know it changes me. I think this is the power of prayer. For you more scientific folks, studies have shown that besides increasing dopamine, meditating or praying also increases the amount of serotonin, another feel-good chemical in our bodies. So I think that it is possible that we are in this harmonious and feel-good state. We can begin to live our lives intentionally with mindfulness, and we can begin to see everything we do and all that we do in our lives as a prayer of sort. Every word, every act, every interaction can be a prayer in its own way. Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Eric Wilkstrom, in his book, Simply Pray, says that prayer is about both opening yourself to the universe as well as bringing more love into ourselves. He says, loving prayer is about opening our hearts and our minds to the needs of others and the world in which we live. Our understanding and our compassion increases, our capacity for love expands, and our attitude improves. Our ability to work for healing in ourselves and in our relationships and in our social structure is immeasurably strengthened. Renowned theologian Reinhold Niebuhr noted, prayer does not change things. Prayer changes people, and people change things. Prayer is not hearing voices. Prayer is acquiring a voice. Some of you may know this short poem by Mary Oliver titled Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be the weeds in the vacant lot, or a few small stones. Just pay attention. Then patch a few words together. Don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but a doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. I really like the book that we enjoyed together this morning about the grandfather telling his grandson about his perspectives of prayer. He saw prayers in the way the trees reached to the sky, and the way the rocks prayed in stillness, and the flowers bowed in the wind and gave off their scent, and the birds prayed with their song. The book said, each living thing gives its life to the beauty of all life, and that gift is a prayer. I think that's a lovely way to describe prayer. Prayer may mean very many different things to you. It could mean a still, calm peacefulness as we drink in the what is of life itself. It could be a song sung in worship. It can be an appreciation of the beauty of life. It can be an intention of what you need to change in yourself to make the world a better place. And it could be a petition to the universe for more love and more understanding. If you look on your order of service, you'll see that I included 4 ideas of what prayer can be. If you want ideas of how to cultivate types of prayer in your life, you might consider thinking of these. Now, Some of you right now might be praying that my sermon come to an end because it's going on so long. I was going to give you a time to ponder these, but I won't do that now. Instead, I will close with these thoughts. Eric Wickstrom wrote, "Prayer is not about leading the universe towards some desired outcome. It is about our willingness to be led to greater consciousness, compassion, and connection." Yes, this. Prayer is about our willingness to be changed. So even this atheist prays, and I do so often when I'm with you here. May it be so.
Thank you for praying for me and the world. As I listened to today's service regarding prayer, well, my thoughts went back to my first prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Or I found another version which says, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Angels watch me through the night and wake me with the morning light. How many of you have repeated those words? Yeah. Were those words just for the children? Asking me to consider death and to affirm a belief in a higher power at such a young age? Wow. Now I ask, seek, and request help to live better days. And while I am thankful for all that I have, I still want more. More happiness, more comfort, more satisfaction, and yeah, more stuff. Oh yeah, and I pray for peace, that all wars are ended forever and ever and ever, and that everyone has a roof covering their heads and food to eat. I pray that women are allowed to exercise their inherent rights regarding their bodies, and that everyone is valued regardless of their gender choice. Also, I pray that all forms of slavery are erased from existence. Oh, and in the story for all ages, we were introduced to the oops prayer. I know it quite well. Okay, I know that sometimes I need to ask for forgiveness, but am I the only one that uses this prayer for that reason of forgiveness? Prayer for me is a continuous open conversation between me and the universe. I don't think I must get on my knees with folded hands and closed eyes. In fact, the excitement of seeing a beautiful flower with a single drop of dew is one of the best prayers that I have ever experienced. I am also practicing mindfulness meditation and how to quietly listen to my body while allowing myself to enjoy the stillness of the present moment. With prayer and meditation, I may not get the winning lottery ticket, but I do get a wonderful sense of being connected and involved in this treasured life. Namaste. Please rise in body or voice as we join together in song as we sing Hymn 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life.
The closing words and the chalice extinguishing, if you'd help me, Ed, before you sit down, are these short words from Ganga White. What if our religion was each other, our prayer, our words? What if the temple was earth and our forests its church? If the teacher was life, if wisdom was self-knowledge, and if love the center of our being. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
In your order of service, you'll see information about the ecumenical Thanksgiving. It's a coming together of time and a time to seek peace for all the community. Today, also, we will be having a fire drill, which we will talk about in just a moment. As our service ends today, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go. And Susan? Oh, Susan. And Michael.
Thank you, Ed. I'm Susan Allman, and you may recognize me as part of the pastoral care team, but today I wear an additional hat. I'm co-chair of our Emerson safety team. It's a small group of very dedicated people whose goal is to make and keep us in the building and on the property as safe as humanly possible. So, in that light, this morning we're having our annual fire drill. Our goal is to orderly evacuate the building as quickly as possible after the alarm sounds. Please follow greeter and safety team directions to exit the building through the rear push bar doors. See the exit sign there, lit up, and the exit sign there. Any other doors you see in the sanctuary here are closets, and they're full of stuff. Please don't use them and head out to the back way. Okay. Do not go through the front push bar doors up there. In a fire, that area will be very dangerous. The fire department rapidly will fill it with vehicles and equipment, and people could get hurt if they're out there. If your mobility is limited, please ask others to help you get out of the building as far as you can in that direction. Go to the area at the blue and white emergency evacuation sign. Everyone go there, in the grass beyond the back parking lot. Teachers and staff will evacuate the children and youth. After everyone has left the building, which takes less than 4 minutes on the average here, we will announce all clear. Teachers and staff will guide the children to meet their families with religious education sign out. Then everyone is free to immediately leave the area. And then after the fire drill, please join us for snacks and beverages for our fellowship time in room 122. Thank you.
Good morning. So, RE families, just a note of clarification. If your child is in class with teachers, the teachers will lead them and they will take them to the picnic tables. You can pick up your child at the picnic tables. Your children will not be released to go anywhere else until you have been handed them by their teacher. All right? Don't need anyone to run off into the woods or in front of a fire truck in the middle of any of this stuff going on. So just know that's where your child will be in the beginning, all right?